Hello everybody. This week's video is the first part of at least 3, possibly 4-part series about the global summary. And this week's video is the basics of the individual sectors. Next week's video will be a sector all to itself. Now, there is a continuity error in this video. The microphone here ends up being all the way up here at one point. That's because I record my video in parts. But I recorded it actually perfectly the first time. I said everything I felt I needed to say properly, and I didn't want to risk screwing that up. So it was either deal with the continuity error or risk making a bad video, and I decided to deal with the continuity error. I hope you don't mind. With all that said, let's get started. A global summary. In this global summary, you have 6 sectors. The North American sector includes Canada and the USA. The South America sector, mostly jungles with populations of civilization. The Northern Euro sector includes once again I cannot pronounce that, and the EBSIS. The Africa sector, mostly unpopulated. The Far East sector, this is the most populated and technologically advanced sector in the world. The Eastern sector includes India, China, Indonesia, and Australia. Out of all the sectors that I do know of, like I've read a little bit into, I like the African sector the best. It's probably where I'd place most of my adventures. With it being so sparsely populated, it is a great sector to have adventures in, but still you could find Zentradi to battle, as well as abandoned facilities. I mean, admittedly, I haven't read too much into the African sector, but it's probably where I'd base most of my campaigns because it is so open and gives you so much space. The major quadrants and highlights. Here we have the site of the SDF and the Southern Cross headquarters. The Quebec quadrant, an independent nation. I truly try to avoid making it 2 words in one video, but in this case it's going to be 3. I cannot pronounce that. Whatever that says, it's Zentradi dominated. Mexico quadrant, widely populated. The Venezuela quadrant, I'm probably not pronouncing that right. I'm going to try. Mostly populated. Zentradi control zone, widely populated by hostile Zentradi. Brazil quadrant, scattered population with some major industry. Scattered population with some industrial factories and RDF bases. The Argentine quadrant, widely populated. It is the hub of Zentradi control. Sendiva quadrant includes Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. The EBSIS, aka the Eastern Bloc Soviet Independent State. It includes what is left of Germany, Poland, and the USSR. Congo quadrant, the site of much recent Zentradi activity, mostly jungle. India quadrant, much poverty, the site of recent Zentradi activity. Manchurian quadrant, a feudal independent kingdom. China quadrant, mostly populated and has a low technology level, site of increased Zentradi activity. Indochina quadrant includes Burma, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, I can't pronounce that, and Malaysia. Indonesia quadrant includes Sumatra, Philippines, and New Guinea. Australia quadrant, a major industrial sector. The global map and a few notes about it. Black areas on the map represent vast wastelands resulting from the Zentradi planetary attack. White areas represent inhabitable areas. And this right here, this is the reason why I would love doing most of my adventures in Africa. There's a good enough area that you could have random civilizations, but there's enough wasteland, especially where the wasteland is. You could also have military facilities, leftover cities. There is a lot of potential adventure that I love the idea of in Africa, because it is just so well balanced between inhabitable and uninhabitable areas. But for our country, block number one, it's not so bad. I mean, there's mostly areas. It's about the same for the amount of land to destruction, like potential adventure you have in America. But in the case of Africa, you have more open space. In the case of America, there's a lot of big cities where it wasn't bombed. And for anybody who's curious, this black area here, I'm pretty sure that's where I live. I'm pretty sure my area was completely destroyed by the Zentradi assault. Interestingly enough, South America was never touched. So for anybody who wants pristine, no wastelands campaign, South America is perfect. And in section number 3 here, well, section number 3 is how I should put that, we have, well, I can't tell you the names of countries. I honestly can't. I'm not that good at it. But still, I know that the Soviet Union and Russia, well, Soviet Union now, Russia, just simply Russia now, is located up here. And there's a lot of destruction here. Of course, we already talked about Africa and why I liked it so much. Section number 5, Japan. Now, this I find interesting because even back when this show was made, sorry, I keep saying book, the Japan was pretty densely populated. So you would think it would have been a major target for the Zentradi. Of course, we have area number 5, but Australia, I'm not surprised Australia barely got touched. There is not just the areas that are obviously inhabited by humans, like even now. There's only areas that are heavily inhabited by humans, so I'm not surprised that didn't get bombed too much. But that is the world map. Now you got a pretty good idea as to where you might want to set your campaign in. I know I do. The New Earth. After the Zentradi assault on the planet Earth, the long, arduous task of rebuilding lives and civilization begun. Much of the world was totally and completely destroyed. Only Japan, Indonesia, Australia, and parts of Canada were spared the annihilation which plunged the rest of the world into a second dark. The Wastelands. The wastelands are areas of land which were subject to severe bombardment during the Zentradi primary attack. Most of these regions were once major population centers, cities, or military installations. Today, they are dead zones occupied only by renegades, outlaws, Zentradi, and nomads. So it leaves a lot of opportunity for really, really fun gameplay when you have a lot of wastelands. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Next week's video is about the state of the Soviet Union, Robotech. I hope to see you there. Have a great week.